guys, if you all have any questions, you've already heard the panelists, what they do. Raise your hand if you have a question so that you can input it into your iPad. So students, if you have an iPad, please stand up so the other students can see who you are. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Can you explain exactly why you went into engineering? Was there something that motivated you, or were you, did you see something when you were growing up that really, really wanted to pursue that?
So, like I said, I graduated back in 2013, and well, you know, as many of us, I didn't think I was going to go to college. I started working in construction for 2 years until 2015. Then I realized I wanted to build stuff, you know. I wanted to be a part of the infrastructure that's growing here in the valley. So, you know, what a better way to help and give back to the community than getting a civil engineering degree and being a part of all this growing that's going on here in the valley.
In my case, I choose civil engineering because I would like to do bridges, and I want to make people just start using their bicycles instead of cars. I want to make people to get into the exercise line. I personally use my bicycle a lot, and I would like to, my idea is to make a bridge at the island where people can actually cross it using their bicycles or by walking. I think it's very interesting and motivating. People will go. I think it will improve a healthy life. That's one of my that's really a dream that I have. That's my main reason why I choose engineering.
Why I chose engineering? Probably because I played with a lot of Legos when I was a kid. But honestly, it was just one of those things. Honestly, you never know where you're going to wind up when you get older. That's scary, which is okay. I really wanted to be an artist. In a way, I do kind of do artwork. Everything I do, I have to design blueprints, and that's kind of a way of doing art. However, being an artist doesn't really pay the bills, not the bills I have to deal with. But then my next option was be a math teacher. I really wanted to be a math teacher because my brother's a math teacher. But I found out that, you know, I would really more likely, during the course of my college years, I kind of swayed away from math to engineering. And it's the people that you surround yourself kind of mold you and kind of influence you in the road or the path that you're going to be going through. And when I was in college, believe it or not, I went to STCC. Have you guys ever heard of that place? There's a C after the C. It was a community college. Now it's a college. But it's okay. Now I'm teaching at the university. Yeah. And if you think that college isn't for you, and like you said that they have trade schools, which is okay. I mean, it's all right. As long as you're happy doing what you do, as long as you're content. Some of us don't have an appetite that we can't get rid of because we're always wanting to do more. And I'll be honest with you, I work maybe 12, 15 hours a day. That's a lot. And sometimes I can't sleep because I'm thinking about work. My wife hates it. My kids, I don't even know my kids. I'm kidding. I don't know how old they are. But it's just that it's a passion that grows, but it can get you. And honestly, I feel that I don't work a day in my life because I rather enjoy doing what I do. And I enjoy, waking up at 5 in the morning, getting it done out of the way, then doing whatever I want because I own my own business. That was my goal. My goal was to teach at the university and get my own engineering firm, and it happened. And what's funny is, a lot of my old classmates, when they find out I'm teaching at the university, they always seem surprised. You know what I mean. You have like this, you feel, how did he, how is he teaching at the university? And then it's simple. It's because he worked hard to get there. That's it. They know things about you, but they don't know things of you or who you really are. And that's what was my drive to be there. And I always like that look on their face when I run into old classmates from high school who were real popular. And now I see them working as a manager at a Starbucks or at a gas station, and they ask, what do? I don't really tell them anything. I just say, I do things here and there, but I really want to tell them I'm a professor at the university. What do you do? Okay? So I think I kind of went on a tangent there, but you know, what motivated me to get there was first my love for math, and then the people that I surrounded myself with, the friends you make in college. Eventually, you make friends for life. And one of my classmates is right here. I was in college with her. Both graduated about the same time. And she is a success. Okay? Thank you.
So I'm not going to talk about engineering, I promise. So for me, growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to do. In high school, I was kind of like in the middle, the average. I didn't realize what I really enjoyed until college. My original degree was liberal arts, which is basically a catch-all. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. What really interested me was the law, and I loved learning about the law. So I took that. I knew the path I was going to go to. I was going to go to law school. I was going to be a lawyer. From there, I went to my counselor and asked for advice. Hey, I want to do some internships to get experience, because when you get out of college, there's this period where everybody who's hiring wants experience, but you don't have any. All you have is a degree, so you just need like a foot in the door. So while I was in college, I asked the guidance counselor to try to find me some internships. So I found one at the Federal Trade Commission in Washington, D.C. So I went up there for a summer. I was a part of an investigative crew that were investigating companies that were making false claims to consumers, like our product will make you $100 million if you buy a franchise within our business. Or they were misleading consumers on commercials saying clinical trial when there was no clinical trial. So we were doing investigations on that, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I came back. I still love the law. I still was thinking about law school, and I did an internship at a law firm. So I did that for the next summer, and what I found out is I hate being in the office, sitting there reading contracts all day. So I thought, what am I going to do? I love the law, hate being in the office reading contracts or reading law all day. So I did a little research. I applied for, it was called ICE, Office of Investigations back then. Now we're called HSI. And they had an investigative assistant. So I got my foot in the door there. I saw what the special agents were doing. I was very much interested in becoming a special agent at that point. So everything I had done, everything I did from there on was to become a special agent. So I volunteered for special assignments. I went out with the agents when they went to go arrest people. I conducted investigations, parallel to their investigations, and gave them ideas. So I gained a lot of experience doing that. Now, like he said, it's not even work. Like every day I get to do whatever I want. I get to work on whatever case I want to work on. I get to lead my investigation. It's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of responsibility because a lot of times there's children's lives. Because I'm in a child exploitation group, so there's victims out there being victimized that it keeps me up at night that I'm thinking about. But yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And investigations for me was definitely the path to go once I saw what we did every day.
So I'm kind of like an accident, I guess you could say. Things kind of like brew into a perfect storm for me to be where I am today. But I've always knew that I wanted to work with people, right? I'm an extrovert. I love stories. I love to hear people's stories. I love different cultures, So whenever I graduated high school, I really did not know what I wanted to do. So a friend of mine was going to school in San Antonio, this really small private university there. So I went and I got a bachelor's in arts. the PA and started working for nonprofits because I've always volunteered, did a lot of volunteer work in high school, National Honor Society type of stuff. So through my contacts and through the people that I surrounded myself with, they started to shape me into, okay, what is it that you're called for? What's your passion? What is that one thing that makes you angry about the world, right? And what can you do to change that? So I started thinking about, what makes me angry? What really ticks me off? What is it something that I'm always thinking about when I wake up, when I go to sleep? And that was the idea that, that my people, us, as Latinos, we have really been left behind by a lot of institutions, by a lot of opportunities. So my whole idea is that how can I connect people to opportunities, right, so that we can get ahead. And that's how I kind of went down this path. So I went on and I got my master's in public administration from UTRGV. And really that opened doors for more opportunity for me to, travel around Latin America. I love travel, I love culture, I love food. So I got to do all of that, and it's crazy. Like sometimes I think and I stop and I'm like, they really pay me to do this kind of stuff, which is a lot of fun. But it's also hard work, right? Because whenever you work with in any line of work, like you have to deal with people, you're gonna have challenges, right? People are going to disagree with you. There's going to be competing agendas. There's going to be politics. And you will have to learn how to navigate all of that to achieve a specific goal. So in my case, it's to serve people. Sometimes people don't want you to help them. And what do you do, right? I think the old way is that, or if they don't want help, then I won't help them. But I think we need to challenge that, because I remember times in my life where I didn't need help, but someone kept pushing, kept knocking on my door, kept calling me out, and if it wasn't for those people in my life, I wouldn't be where I am today. So yeah, that's how I got into the field of social services, right? Of public service, working with the nonprofit and the government. It's because really I have a passion to just connect people to each other, connect people to their stories, connect people to resources. And I'll say this and I'll pass the mic. There is never just one story, right? There are always multiple stories. So most of us, I think, we're on Instagram and social media and all of that. That's one story that we put out, right? What you put on Instagram, on Facebook, you're telling a story. But what's the real story, right? What are the things that you don't put on social media, right? What are the things that only you know or a close group of people know? So I'm trying to create opportunities for people to share and tell their own stories and their real stories. And it may be multiple stories. So I'm gonna start preaching here, but that's just how I ended up. I think what we said is very important, that the people that you surround yourself with shapes who you are, right? So I shared this yesterday at Palmview, that look around you. Look around, your circle of friends. Are the people that you're surrounding yourself with, are they building you up, or are they tearing you down? And you gotta make a decision, right? I need to surround myself with people that will build me up. Here.
My motivation to become an engineer was my family. I wanted to make my family proud. Coming from a small town like Benitez, many people don't say like, oh, what are you gonna do, or are they gonna graduate, and you just don't know, like Lucas said, where you're gonna end up in life. So I was the oldest in my family. I wanted to set an example for my little sister and my little brother. I went to school. I graduated from high school. I graduated from college, and it was a blessing that I started my firm at 22 years old, and I wouldn't change anything, no matter how hard it's been, to get here. But, my main motivation was my family, and maybe that could be for you guys as well, to make your parents proud, and your friends and your family.
My passion is to help people, and that's one of the reasons we started Marketing Careers Institute, to be able to create programs that is going to be able to help a lot of students. Going back to Lucas, it's like, you mentioned time. Right now, you feel like you have the time of your life, but don't waste your time because it's something that you're not going to be able to get back. So utilize it wisely. Hang around with the people that you feel like they're positive for you. Don't hang around with people that are negative. If you feel that they're negative, try to move out. It's like they say, if you start hanging around with people that smoke, and if you don't smoke, later on you're gonna be smoking too, because it's gonna be what you feel is normal. But if you wanna be smarter, you wanna be rich, start hanging around with people that talk about money, how to make more money. So find your passion, find what you wanna do. Not because our parents tell you, oh, you're gonna be a doctor, and you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be a lawyer, or you're gonna be doing this. But it's not what you really like, you're not gonna be happy doing that. So find your passion, find what you want to do. So that you can be happy, and like you said, you're going to work and you don't feel like going to work, because that's what you like.
Sorry guys, it gets challenging with one mic. Okay, we have a question for Mr. Reynosa. And the question is, what do you enjoy most about your job? And it's gonna be a two-part question. And what do you need, or what educational path should they take if they wanna go into your field?
So I'll start off by answering the second question. To become a special agent, you don't need any degree at all. Experience can be translated into a degree, but you have to be, like, the experience has to be very good. Like, you have to be an investigator with the local police department or Customs and Border Protection. There's a lot of different paths that people take to become a special agent. We don't just hire the cookie cutter, you did this, so now you're coming. So we hire people with special trades. Computer forensic agents. We need accountants to help us with our money laundering investigations. We have a very diverse hiring pool. Me personally, I got a bachelor's degree in legal studies and then a master's degree in criminal justice. Because they weren't hiring for 8 years because of the budget, I was trying to better my resume for when they did open up. I would be on the list of qualified applicants. The second part is, what do I enjoy most about my job? Honestly, so I'm in a child exploitation group. When I save a victim, it's the best part of any job I can possibly imagine from being abused. So that's the best part. As far as if I were in a drug group or if I were in a human trafficking group, the best part of the job is the freedom they give you, the fact that every day is different and you're always learning, trying to, technology is changing, criminals are changing the way they do crimes, they change their tactics, so you have to be always evolving. Also, one of the great parts about my job is I can be able to do this investigation here, or I can do it in Florida, I can do it in Washington, D.C., I can do my investigation that if it leads me to Germany, if it leads me to the Netherlands or Australia, we can go do that. We have a large scope and a large hand that can reach all over the world. We have offices in over 100 countries. So just the freedom and the ability to do whatever, wherever my investigation leads is probably the best part of my job.
I know we have several engineers up here, so this question is for all of you. I forgot where it was. Can you be an engineer without having a passion for math? And is there something else that they should be strong at besides math and science?
No, you can't be an engineer if you don't like math. All the classes are very challenging. It feels nice to have the feeling that you're able to do the problems. At the end, if you understand what you're doing, you end up liking what you're doing. There's a saying that says that there's nothing more stressful than something that you can't understand. If you're able to understand what you're doing, then you will enjoy it. Then you will enjoy it.
Well, she's one of my students. Now for me to put the whole truth on you all. Math is fundamental in what we do, but that's only in college. Okay? Some of the things that we don't teach you in college are the other parts that go with engineering, especially in civil engineering. I can't really talk about mechanical, industrial, manufacturing, electrical, natural gas, all those other engineerings. But in our field, I'll be honest with you, any idiot can do what we do. You know, right? Just think about it. How many of you have a dad that came from Mexico? Okay. Have you ever tried doing anything with your dad? You're doing it wrong. What does he do? Right? Or he calls you some names. My dad would tell me to go get a stick. And then I would do everything so I wouldn't get that stick again. And right, every time you did something wrong, you learn how to do it. You get better at what you do, right? Just like any job that you go apply to. Any of y'all work right now? You know? How old are you? 16? You don't have a job? I had a job when I was 4. We're a migrant family, that's why. We started at a young age. And the thing is, here's what I tell my students. A lot of kids get discouraged because of the math. Okay? It's part of it. The highest math you have to learn is calculus. Calculus 3. And honestly, calculus is easier than algebra. But a lot of you guys don't know that. Because you're afraid to get to that point. Like, see? And once you start doing something, you learn and you get better at it. Just like the first guy who made a building. He put 4 sticks together and something on top. It held up, kept the rain out. Then the wind came. It flew off. Like that. So what does he do? Let me put a stick here. There you go. Now it's going to keep up when the wind blows. But what if the wind blows this direction? Well, let me put a stick over here. That's how we do it. I've made plenty of mistakes as an engineer. Oh my goodness. So many mistakes. But you know what? I was willing to take that risk to try to do them. That's what separates those who are successful from those who watch from the sidelines. Am I making sense? You always have that one guy in the group that jumps before he looks. See, the one who talks before he thinks. Like, see? And if you don't think you have one, then you're that person. So yes, and math is very important. You might have to like it, but I'll tell you this. Remember, I teach, so I know who my A students are. Right off the bat. All your teachers already know who the A students are. Like that. And then most of the time, it's because they're very lazy, some of these kids. It's not that math is hard, no, the kid's lazy. You just don't want to learn it, which is okay, it's all right. It doesn't have to discourage you, but eventually you're gonna have to get off that sense and start being hardworking instead of being lazy. Am I making sense, I hope? So, I'll give you one example. In college, we had a classmate. Couldn't speak English. Didn't know algebra. Couldn't divide. And he graduated with a 3.2 GPA. Okay, I don't know. Fascinating. His GPA was higher than mine. And now he's in charge of one of the biggest agencies in Texas, in textile. He's one of their main engineers there. And you know how he did it? It's not because he didn't know math. It's because he was very resourceful. He used his other abilities to get what he wanted. Am I making sense? You always have that guy, one guy that can get you what you want. He was that one guy. So, in closing, you do have to have a passion for what you do. You have to like what you do if you want to move forward on it. But if you want to do engineering, like you said, math isn't fundamental, but it's required. The other thing that's required in engineering to be a professional is they have to like you. We have some of the smartest cats in engineering, but they have no social skills. In other words, to be successful, you have to like the person. You have to be likable. If you're likable, you can get through life. You'd be surprised how many people get away with death just because they like the guy. I have so many clients that haven't paid, but I like the guy. So I let them, say, hey man, come on. There's gotta be a time I gotta cut that off. But use your other strengths. Don't just think that math is the only priority. Use the other strengths that you have to get ahead. Don't just concentrate on your faults. Be strong where you're strong and work on where you're weak. And that will get you to wherever you need to go.
Okay, well, question is for you, Nick, Diana, anyway. They want to know how they can become an owner of an engineering firm or take your job. Just kidding, just be an owner of an engineering firm.
With a lot of hard work. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, when I opened up my firm, I was 22 years old. I had just graduated. I had worked for S&B Infrastructure for 1 year, and I did not have a license. So you don't necessarily have to be already a professional engineer to own your own firm, but you do have to have an engineer, a licensed engineer work for you. So that's what I did in order to start my company, and that was 12 years ago. And so basically, I know other people that own an engineering firm and they're not engineers, but you do have to have at least cash flow to be able to maintain your employees, your engineers, CAD, whatever. But it's a challenge, but it's not impossible. So that's basically all you need.
And I'm going to start from that end with Mr. Alama. And the question is, for many of our students here, for many of us, we're first-time generation college students. What was that experience for you like when you graduated high school? Did you know where to go? Who did you turn to? Just some advice on to give our students as to what they need to do graduating.
Okay, I'm actually first time. I was raised in Mexico. Came to study here, did my high school here. So all my family was in Mexico. I was living here with an aunt. My dad actually is a civil engineer in Mexico. So they always push me, you're gonna be an engineer, you're gonna be an engineer. So that's what it was in my head all the time. So once I graduate, I enrolled in Kingsville. I didn't make it to Kingsville, so I ended up in GTR2 at that time in Panama. I didn't know my resources. I didn't know that during high school I go to my counselors and ask for advice. So now I know that all of you guys have that option. Ask for advice, but mainly look for mentors. Again, find what you said that you want to do and ask them for advice. People that we all here, we're willing to help everybody. Why? Because we want for everybody to be like us or better than us. You're the next generations that are going to be moving forward. We're here to help out, so look for mentors, ask for your counselors for advice. Get on social media, look for all of us on Instagram or Facebook, and reach out to us and ask for advice. How can I do this? How can I become like you? How can I become better than you? Because your goal should be better than your previous generation. That's the goal. That's my goal. Like, again, I came from Mexico. I'm here doing a lot better than what my family did before. And I want for my kids to do better than me. So ask for advice and look for mentors.
add to that is, don't waste time, don't wait. When I graduated from high school, I graduated in May, and I started college in June. I probably waited like about a week or 2 weeks or something like that, and I was straight, I went to college. When I had questions, I would go to my counselors, or advisors, and, you know, I was always on track checking, like, what else do I need to take, what classes am I missing? You know, and anytime I had a question, like he said, I would look for someone to give me the answer. I wouldn't just sit around and wait for the answer to come, because it's not going to. Like, so don't wait, and be perseverant, and if you have a goal and you know where you wanna go, you know, don't ever be shy to ask questions to get where you need to go.
So I shared that yesterday too, but, so you're going to fail, right? We all have. You're going to make mistakes, we all have. Your failures and your mistakes, they do not define who you are, okay? What defines who you are is how you respond to setbacks and to your mistakes and, you know, and to your failures. So, right now is the best time for you to take some risks, you know, to not do anything illegal, right? Because our actions do have consequences, but at the same time, you know, get connected with someone, right? Don't waste time. Go and do, but at the same time, you know, it's a lot easier for you to make a mistake or fail now than, let's say, when you're 30 or 40 or 50, right? So you don't have to do this by yourself, right? There's plenty of resources out there. It's your responsibility to go and ask for help, okay? So that's what I would say.
So I really think we said it better than the first three. All of those individually is basically how I got to where I'm at. My parents didn't go to college. They couldn't give me advice on what classes to take. They couldn't give me advice on anything. So I sought out help. I asked, and I was shy. So it was hard for me to build up that courage enough to go ask somebody what do I need to do to get into college? What forms do I need to fill out? It's hard taking that first step, because for me it was, you know, whatever it was. But when you do take that first step, and when you start learning about what it takes to get to where you're at, where you need to go, then it's easy. Doing it is the easy part for me. Asking was the hard part. So don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid of if there's something that interests you, and you know, don't think you can't do it, because you absolutely can. There's always somebody who has less talent than you and less abilities than you doing the job that you want. So if they could do it, you can definitely do it.
Everyone's correct, right? As far as the time that you take. Time is more valuable than money, especially when you start getting older. You do have to make a decision. You don't have to, it's best that you make a decision as soon as you're about to graduate, if college is gonna be for you, and not find something to do. Because unfortunately, your parents aren't gonna tolerate you at home for the rest of your life. I was guilty of it, I'll be honest with you. College was not in my mindset when I graduated. It took me exactly about 4 years after high school to start college. And by that time, I was just working a remedial job. I was a cook at Logan's Roadhouse for about a couple of years. I really liked the job, honestly. It was fun. You party every night with the waiters, and you know, you had no responsibilities. But then no one's gonna be with someone who doesn't have a better sense for themselves or has any goals in life. And the one that really motivated me to go to college was my older brother. He said, "You're wasting your time. You're too smart to be doing what you're doing now." And the reason I didn't go is because I thought we didn't have the money to go, which isn't true. you come to realize that there are programs out there that can help you go to college, especially the minorities, especially the migrants, especially our culture, Hispanic culture. There is money for you to go to college. Take advantage of it. But no one's going to tell you that it's there. You have to go looking for it. And that's what he told me. That was the best advice he gave me. No one's going to give it to you. You have to go look for it yourself. No one's going to hold you by the hand and tell you, here it is, mijo. Here it is, mija. Ándale, comiénzala. That's not how it was. A mí me regañaron. Real ugly. And I was in college the next day. Like that. It's very simple. Time doesn't wait for anybody. It's not going to wait for you. You're no one special yet. But in time, you will become someone who's respectable and who's prominent in the community and who's giving back. And that's why you can't really waste time when you get out of college. When out of high school. And one word of advice, for those 4 years that I missed college, more or less the average of every year of college that you miss, you lose about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. So you guys do the math. Does that make sense? When you deal with money, it's a big difference and it sounds real different, doesn't it? So that's my advice to you.
Well, my advice, well, there's 3 parts to it. The first would be, it's never too late. The second, push yourself. And the third, never give up. Why do I say it's never too late? In my case, like I mentioned before, I didn't go to college right off high school because I thought I could make it, I was thinking I could just get a job and get through life. But then that hunger, that for success that I had in myself, that's what motivated me to, go to college. I was pretty not good at algebra. I even failed some classes, but that's going into my second advice. Don't give up. I had to retake some classes, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to get through college. But the key here is to not give up. And yeah, you gotta push yourself a little bit. Because I used to be lazy, I didn't like homework, but I started doing it and I still don't like it, but it's part of college. You gotta learn to be responsible and you gotta learn to be, certain things to be successful. And by successful, I don't mean to have money or to have a huge house or a nice car. To me, being successful is being happy. You gotta be happy with what you do. You gotta love what you do, and that way, in my experience, that's success. Thank you.
I just want to recall something that my professor, Mr. Castillo, said, that there's a lot of hope for immigrants and people with the need. I am from Mexico City. I came here, I finished my high school, and my dream was to go to college, but I was definitely poor, and I didn't have the money, I didn't even have a car, my family was over there, so go to college, it was definitely a really expensive and far idea. When I graduated from high school, I didn't go to college for 1 year because I worked so I can get a car and go to TSCC in Harlingen because that was the cheapest one. UTD was definitely very expensive, so I started in Harlingen. I graduated with an associate in math because engineering wasn't in my plans at that time. I just wanted to have something to be able to work because I was a server and I didn't want to be a server my whole life. So when I started in UTRGB, I saved like $4,000 to pay my first semester, and I didn't remember that I was in the line. And when I paid the $3,500, I think I got mad because that was the whole money that I had. I was thinking, I'm paying one semester, I'm not gonna be able to pay the next one. So I was like, I'm starting something that I know I'm not gonna be able to finish because I didn't have the money. By the two weeks later, I received a check of $3,500. That's something that is called a cheap grant me, and they have paid for all my classes since the beginning. I didn't know that was gonna happen, but I found out that there's help for immigrants and for people in need. And like the professor said, no one's gonna tell you that the help is there, but you have to go and look for them, the way I did. And thanks to that, I'm about to graduate and I haven't paid for anything. All you have to do is to do well in your classes, behave, and finish what you start.
Yes, that's very important. We're gonna do one last question and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. So this question is for Mr. Adame. I know that we mentioned a four-year degree sometimes is not in the plans. There's students that simply just don't like school, and we understand that. School is not for everyone. What are there different options for a 2-year certificate or some sort of degree or any license that they can obtain?
Okay, do we have any seniors here or in between? Okay, right now you need to take advantage while you're in high school. There's some classes through the CT program where you can be taking like either dual enrollment through STC or some other vocational classes like nursing, CNA, welding. All those classes while you're in high school, they're free. So take advantage right now, they're free for you. Because once you graduate from high school, everything is gonna cost you money. Nothing is gonna be free no more. Not even the lunch that you're taking here. So take advantage of the free classes. Now, two-year degrees, STC in McAllen, or actually all over, in Harlingen, TSTI, they have a 2-year degrees, 1-year degrees, vocational schools, McAllen Careers Institute. There's other schools that provides business, CNA, nursing. Nursing sometimes is good because you can start as an LVN, it's a 1-year program, and you can, after that, go as an RN, get your 4-year degree, and make more money too. Work less, make more money. So any programs that you can take right now, if you're in high school, take advantage, because they will be free for you. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example, welding. Our program costs about $60,000, 9 months program. If you take the program here, it will be free for you. So take advantage of the free classes right now.
Okay, guys, I thank you also for being so respectful of the time. I know we have more students coming in, and for those students, can you just please respect? We just have a couple more minutes. We're going to wrap up, and then the cafeteria is yours. We're going to go ahead and let these speakers wrap up with some educational career advice that you want to give our students. This could be short. I know we've kind of summed up everything throughout the morning. So just a quick summarization of something that you want to leave our students with.
Don't waste your time, guys. Again, time is money. So don't waste your time. Be focused and do what you like to do. Find your passion and start working on it.
Check your priorities. If your priorities are not in order, it will be very hard for you to get where you need to be. So don't waste your time, again, like you said, and check your priorities.
So life is hard, okay? Life is really hard. I mean, that's just the way to get around that. Right now you probably have an adult or a series of adults telling you what to do all the time, where to go, what classes to take, so on and so forth. Once you leave high school, it's not like that anymore. So yeah, time, priorities, everything that we talked about. But you don't have to be the victim, all right? All of you guys are leaders, and there are opportunities for you. Make sure that you get connected with someone or people who will build you up and who will help you navigate life together, okay? So you're not alone. Make sure that you just connect with the community that can build you up.
So I'll wrap up with reiterating, just don't be afraid to ask. If there's something that you see that you want to do, find out how to do it, and mark all the boxes, check all the boxes, make sure you do everything you need to do to be successful. Set yourself up. Like they said, prioritize things. That's super important. School is going to be before family events. It's going to be before the birthdays. It's going to be before anything else. If you want to graduate and you want to be successful, you're going to have to prioritize. Your friends are going to have to take a back seat. They'll understand. I have friends that, I went away to college on my own, and I'm still friends with them from high school. They're going to have to understand. If they don't, they're not really your friend. So you're going to have to prioritize, and you're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices, but it's definitely worth it.
Well, there's one quote I used to tell my students. I read this quote one time, and it kind of defines pretty much anyone who wants to move forward. It's by Andrew Carnegie. He said, "Those who are unable to motivate themselves must be content with mediocrity, no matter how impressive your other talents are." So what that means is, you could be very good at doing something, but if you're not motivated to use that talent, then you're just mediocre like everybody else. Does that make sense? So motivate yourself, guys. Do good. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect, but just do something. Thank you.
Just to wrap up real quick, like he said, life's unfair, but it's what you do what makes the difference. It's what sets you aside from the rest. Just don't give up, like I said before, and échale ganas, guys.
My advice is to surround yourself with professional and good people. I'm gonna be the first one in graduating college, and unfortunately, I didn't have family to see that to motivate me. But I want to be that person for my brothers. And I think I got this idea because my friends were always very motivating people. They had money, they had cars, and I was like, I want to be one of them. So seeing that people around motivate me to be the person I will be.
Thank you, guys. Didn't they do awesome this morning? Give them a round of applause, guys. And if I can just summarize everything that they said this morning is, one, it is possible, and two, there are so many resources for you. Every one of us up here, your directors, your principals, we're all willing to help you if you have that drive to do more. All you have to do is reach out and ask us. So we're going to wrap up this panel of speakers, guys. Thank you for being so respectful of their time. To our panel, on behalf of the La Jolla ISD, we thank you for taking time out of y'all's busy schedules. I know for the two students, y'all are going to do wonderful things, and all of you professionals are something to admire. So thank you so much, and you all have a wonderful day.